Hello, everyone. Today, we will be talking on the crucial topic within educational planning, and we will talk specifically on local aspects in relation to economic factors. So, the educational planning doesn't happen in a isolation, and it is deeply rooted in the specific economic conditions and needs of the local communities. So, these factors influence decisions about how the resources are located, also the types of educational programs offered, and the overall success of the policies at the grassroots level. So, by the end of this discussion, we will have a clear understanding of how local economies, community involvement, and labor market needs that will play into strategic educational planning. So let's begin. So there are five areas that we're going to focus on this topic. First, the role of local economics in educational planning. The second one, local government budgets and educational priorities. The third one, community involvement in educational planning. Fourth, local labor market and educational alignment. And lastly, addressing inequities across localities. So let's start with the first one, the role of local economics in educational planning. So first, let's talk about the role of the local economics in educational planning. So the local economics is a major driver in determining how much a community can invest in its educational system. So, for example, first is the resource allocation. Wealthier communities can afford to invest in better infrastructure, teacher training, and modern technologies, which creates an environment conducive to learning. The other hand, low income areas often struggle with outdated resources, poorly maintained facilities, and underpaid teachers. So this results in a significant disparity in the quality of education across different localities. The second one is the income levels and education access. Another critical factor is the economic standing of local families. In low income households, children may be required to work to help support their family, which often leads to higher dropout rates. In more affluent areas, families have the means to provide their children with better educational opportunities, which increases their chances of success in both school and the future employment. The second one is the local government budgets and educational priorities. Local governments are responsible for a wide range of public services, including education, infrastructure, and healthcare. The allocation of funds within these sectors depends largely on the local government's financial capacity. So, for example, the revenue generation, local governments generate revenue through taxes and also fees and subsidized from the national government. So the ability of a local area to generate income directly affects how much funding is available for educational initiatives. So for instance, urban areas with a thriving business sector may allocate more funds to education compared to rural areas with the limited economic activities. Also, the political influence. Another key point is the influence of local political priorities. So the local leaders decide how much of the budget will be allocated to education versus other sectors. So some may prioritize building new schools while others may focus on increasing teacher salaries, or introducing new technology into classrooms. So these political decisions are deeply intertwined with the local economic environment. Third one is a community involvement in educational planning. Local communities play an essential role in the educational planning process. When the local stakeholders, such as parents, teachers, and community leaders, are involved in decision making, it leads to more effective and relevant educational solutions. So, for instance, we have these context specific solutions. Each community has a unique challenges and needs. So, for instance, remote or rural areas may face difficulties with accessibility to schools or lack of teachers. So, the community, they will have an input, can help identify and address these specific needs, leading to more tailored and effective educational programs. And also, we have sustainable development. So the programs initiated by the community are often more sustainable because they are directly aligned with the population's needs. So when the community takes an ownership of its educational system, it leads to a stronger commitment to long-term success. The fourth one is the local labor market and educational alignment. So one of the most important economic aspects in educational planning is ensuring that the education is aligned with the local labor market. So this is particularly true for the regions with specific industries that require certain skills. For example, the vocational and technical training. In localities where certain industries dominate, such as agriculture, tourism, or manufacturing, educational programs should focus on vocational and technical training. This helps ensure that the graduates have the skills necessary to succeed in local jobs and reducing unemployment and contributing to local economic development. Also, the bridging skill gaps. So by aligning education with labor market demands, schools can play a important role in filling skill gaps that exist in local economies. So this type of planning not only benefits students but also helps local businesses thrive by providing a qualified workforce. And lastly, the addressing inequities across localities. A significant issue in the educational planning is the inequity between urban and rural or affluent and impoverished localities. So these disparities manifest in several ways. One of that is access to quality education. So in many rural or underdeveloped areas, schools may lack basic resources and teachers may not receive adequate training. In contrast, urban centers often have better funded schools, more experienced teachers, and advanced technology. So this leads to unequal educational outcomes. Another thing is the national and local collaboration. So one way to address these inequities is through collaboration between local and national governments. So the national government can provide subsidies or targeted funding to underfunded areas, helping bridge the gap and ensure that all students have equal access to quality education. So, in conclusion, local aspects such as economic conditions, community involvement, and labor market needs are crucial to the success of educational planning. So, by understanding the local context and evolving the community in the planning process, we can create more equitable and effective educational programs that meet the needs of every student. So it's important that we, as an educators and planners, continue to focus on these local elements to ensure that education systems not only uplift individuals but also contribute to the economic growth and the development of local communities. Thank you for your attention.